tell us a little bit about the Restorative.
Well, it actually is a restaurant kind of out of necessity for us to have a job, to be honest. I grew up in Dunedin, grew up in Rhode Island. We met on the road in Nantucket. We traveled seasonally for about a decade or so. And kind of wanted to come home, and I bought a house on a whim, thinking that there's no way we're going to get this house. Someone's going to outbid us. And it went through, and it was like, oh boy, I'm an adult now. Awesome. Moved back, and realized not too much has changed in Dunedin proper.
In Dunedin. I mean, St. Pete and Clearwater, or St. Pete and Tampa.
Yeah. And the only good food we can think of was in St. Pete or Tampa, and neither of us wanted to drive 45 minutes each way for work. We would never see each other. And we were kind of playing around, you know, at Ninth Park, playing around with Chivo. That concept is what we wanted to do originally, but without being in downtown proper, without the foot traffic, we knew that concept would absolutely not work. Started looking at other places, and we found this place, and the Restorative was kind of born, just so we had something to do during the day, because if not, we'd just be sitting at home doing nothing and broke.
We're seasonal work money.
Unemployment
for 6 months a year.
Yeah, I missed seasonal work money. That was some good money.
I didn't know you guys actually met in Nantucket.
Yeah, she was an intern. Yeah.
You dated an intern?
Well,
we worked together for a few years.
Yeah, we.
Hold on, you just said intern.
Yeah, she was so good at what she did, I kept hiring her at places I went to. It's funny, she always turned me down.
Only the first time. He called me after Nantucket.
That's right.
He wanted me to come work in Martha's Vineyard, and I said, I don't want to work for you ever again. He was very different in Nantucket. And I took a job at a place on Martha's Vineyard, and he told me I was going to hate it. And I was like, I don't care, it's great money, it's free housing, I'm going to love it. And I was there for about a month, and I called and asked if the original job was still available. And I got it for $1 less an hour than I was originally offered. And since then, every time we're offered a job, I took it.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
So you were just a jerk in Nantucket? That's when you were running that?
Well, I came up with chefs who were like old school chefs.
Yeah.
Like yell, scream, throw knives. I mean, I had some hot soup dumped on me once because
yeah.
it wasn't hot enough, which was the funniest thing to me. I'm like, this is really
That's
hot.
the only time you can do it. If it's too hot, you'll kill the guy.
Yeah.
If it's like not hot enough, it's like, look at this funny thing I did to the new cook.
And that's how I thought you were kind of supposed to act. Also, I was 26, stressed beyond belief.
Yeah.
I mean, staff of 40, which is something I never managed before, ever. And then we came across a chef that we worked for, and he also ended up getting fired. Funny enough, I was like the chef killer on the island. Like, I showed up, the chef would get fired, and like, it was not because of me, it was just circumstances, but number one, I realized, holy crap, this is how I act. This is terrible. And number two, because they got rid of that chef and then put me in charge, I couldn't act just like him.
Right.
There's no way the ownership would have stood for that, like, you know, replace a dictator with another dictator.
Is that why they fired him? Because he was just like,
He was awful.
just a bad human?
I mean, a talented guy.
Yeah.
But he was just, and it was weird what he was awful about. It just always, like...
I got yelled at because we're like busy, we're prepping, and we're making staff meal, and I burned, 5 hard shell taco shells in the oven.
You son of a bitch.
Yes.
Those are
Staff
pretty
meal.
irreplaceable from what I've heard
What's
about.
fucked up about that is he had you making hard shell tacos in an oven. Like, that's on him. I'm like, come on.
Or like,
Keep frying.
he had me make couscous once for staff meals. You gotta get the couscous going. I'm like, staff meal's not for like 2 hours. So I made the couscous, and I just wrapped it and set it in a warm place, and I was gonna fluff it later and do all that. And he gets to the couscous, like right before staff meal, I was about to finish, and he's like, what the heck is this shit? And like starts going off, and I'm like, alright dude, like, it's couscous, and it can be fluffed.
And this was staff meal that only fed the kitchen, so this is staff meal for 4 people. It wasn't like staff meal that fed like a whole hotel of people. This was like a very, like an actual family meal.
And it definitely, working for it definitely changed my mentality on how to treat people in the kitchen. I mean, I do miss the good old days, like, you know, where you could be a jerk. But the thing is, I think everyone back then in kitchens were kind of jerks. I mean, how long ago were you working in kitchens?
Full time? 4 years ago.
Oh, so you're kind of in that transition era of where it wasn't as rough and tumble.
right when I came in, it was the first guy I worked for was like kind of in that transition of chef from being a total dick to being kind of a nice guy and understanding. Then I left there and I went to go work at a few other restaurants where they were cool, about the same. And then I worked for this one fucking French guy. Oh, he was the worst. Like, he was just an alcoholic and, like, would give me shit about how much I blanched my peas. Like, he wanted everything kind of mushy. He was really old school French.
Okay.
And, like, I wanted to keep things kind of al dente. He was one of those guys who would just throw shit and freak out. And what was funny about him, though, is he couldn't then handle what he had done. So he would do that thing and then go, like, get a bottle of wine and go upstairs and drink it alone. It was, like, really depressing almost. Yeah, so it was like he totally make me feel like shit, and then he'd go make himself feel like shit. It was like this really...
That sounds like a really healthy relationship. That sounds pretty amazing.
It was abusive, yeah, it was strange.
Oh my god.
Only restaurant I've ever been fired from, too. I was talking shit about a salad to him. It was
I've only been fired twice, and I've worked in like something god awful like 50 restaurants.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been fired.
I'll fire you right now if you want.
I'm good, thank you.
Did you fire an intern?
She's co-owner now. There's no more unilateral decisions for Jason, that's for sure.
Damn.
So as far as the name, what inspired it?
Alright, so this is one of my favorite like stories, how we came up with this, is pre-French Revolution, and please fact check me, I don't care, send me more information.
We got
There's
Wikipedia
one
right here.
I thought you were just going to be like, it sounded cool.
No, pre-French Revolution, there was really no such thing as a restaurant. Anyone who cooked worked for royalty and the wealthy. But there were things called restoratives. I think Boulanger started the first restorative. And basically, people went there for nourishment when they were feeling ill. It was like stocks and soups, things to make you feel better. And the place were called restoratives. After the French Revolution, all of a sudden all these cooks and chefs realized we don't have jobs anymore. So I feel like the restoratives kind of were the transition into a restaurant. You had that concept of hospitality and taking care of somebody, add service to it. And that's how restaurants came into effect. And restaurants, as we know it today, didn't really take shape until Russian-style service came into play, because original restaurants, it was like large platters and stuff. French-style service, and then Russian-style service, they started coursing things out a little more, smaller plates.
I didn't actually know that was Russians. I thought it was like this transition from the guy, whoever came before Escoffier. Then I thought Escoffier in almost 1890 or something refined it down. He came up with the brigade system and then refined it down to single plates and that sort of thing.
I think he came up with the kitchen system of how it works.
The whole brigade.
But as far as, like I said, please go back, look. I mean, and if you find different information, I love food history.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my mind is full with useless information, that I should really go on Jeopardy and answer questions about the letter Q instead of remembering what's on the wine list. I don't know.
Tell me about the letter Q.
Yeah,
Wait, put me on the spot. I was just trying to think of something
500
completely
for letter
random.
Q. Let's go.
And we kind of feel like this area of Dunedin,
Yeah.
the thing that sort of kind of works really well, because this is the area of Dunedin that needs to be revitalized. There's all this property out here that is unoccupied, and for the city, that's untaxable dollars. There's nothing coming into it.
And there's so many people over here. We've had so many people well, I drive by every day, and I didn't even know there was a strip center here.
Yeah, there's
They
got
don't see the
I'm a little bit worried about the people who are driving by.
but there's got to be easily 10,000 square feet of unoccupied space on Patricia alone, not to mention the other small areas of Dunedin. And if some dollars would come over here to... I mean, downtown's beautiful. Downtown's done. Why do we need to invest more money in downtown? It's already getting the business. It's already got the walking traffic. Tourism is doing okay. Paid parking's kind of meh. But if you can expand that model and move that kind of feel a little further out, the city as a whole would do better.
This new development,
Like a
I think,
funnel.
is going to help. And everyone says something different, but I do think there is going to be some retail on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, do you know what those apartments are going to go for once they come up?
They're
Are
supposed
they
to be
expensive?
luxury apartments,
So,
but how luxury...
yeah,
Right.
The townhouses in the backyard have people living in them, and they look pretty
really
nice. Yeah.
Oh shit!
You know, I wonder about the quality of the build. That'll dictate the prices, really.
It's all wood construction in Florida. I don't know.
Oh my! Wow. Yeah.
And during the hurricane, we were looking at that and like,
I mean, it did hold up to the hurricane, so that's actually a point in its favor.
a really like Category 1 though. I mean, if it would have been the Cat 4 coming through, I mean, I guess none of us, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. That's for
No.
sure.
You might be. I mean, you got brick construction here.
It's concrete block, but the roof would be gone.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
Bad roof. You
Blue
wouldn't
roof.
have an awning.
Yeah, no, the awning would be gone for sure. I mean, this place is built in the 60s.
Right. They knew hurricanes
Stood up.
existed already at that point in time.
Yeah.
It wasn't some weird manifestation that they couldn't figure out.
They didn't put like leeches on.
Yeah,
it. Get rid of the
exactly.
hurricane.
They weren't burning people who were like washing their hands. You know.
Is that a thing?
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. Romans, history,
Roman
witchcraft.
The Roman
Well,
witchcraft.
they, you know,
You
they
don't wash your hands. You
yeah.
just
It's
set
like
on
this
fire.
guy. These guys must be Romans. They wash their hands.
Well, you guys.
Fact check my history.
Yeah. There should be a lot of fact checking after this whole thing.
So the name was Cibo before, right?
Chibo.
Chibo. What
Yeah.
does Chibo mean?
Food in Italian.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
And what made you switch from that to a restorative?
Well, the whole basis of Chibo was doing real authentic Italian food.
yeah.
Like, not Italian American. Like, there is a classic, eggplant parmesan that is the real deal Italian, but I was like, we'll never do it because that's the gateway to Italian American food. That's like, as soon as you put that on, then it becomes chicken parm and chicken marsala and chicken papaya and all the dishes that we all know Italian American.
And endless breadsticks and salads.
Yeah.
And when we were
But-
looking downtown, we still wanted the Chibo concept, but once we realized that we couldn't afford downtown, that's when the
We
concept
needed the
changed.
foot traffic because the whole thing was to have a big window and be rolling pasta all day in front of that window. So as people are walking by, they can see, oh, these guys are actually making pasta by hand. And granted, we got beautiful big windows, but we don't have any foot traffic. So, and to get someone to come to an authentic Italian restaurant in this area, I think would have been really, really difficult.
Yeah, you almost have to be gimmicky. It seems like you'd have to have that gimmick of the foot traffic and the rolling pasta in the window, and
Yes.
you don't have to come in. People would have to be dressed up like gondoliers.
I don't think we go that far.
Put a
Just
little
like every kind of over-the-top Italian character in your window.
yeah, you got like your dressed in a
Mario.
Mario outfit
Yeah.
back there cooking.
Isn't Mario Japanese?
I
Yeah,
think so, but wasn't he an Italian?
He was an
plumber?
Italian
Is he
plumber.
Italian plumber?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what Japanese people think Italian people
Yeah.
look like.
But it's funny, once we did the restorative, every other week we do a hand roll pasta on the menu. And every other week I'm always like, thank God we did not open Chibo. Because like
so much pasta.
day one pasta's like, yeah, this is fun, this is great. Day two it's like, alright, I still like this. Day three I'm like, why are we making agnolotti? Why did I do this to myself? Servers, push something else besides the pasta, please. 'Cause I don't want to be rolling pasta every single day.
That's real talk.
Yeah.
Or you just turn it all into parpadella eventually. It's the easiest to cut.
It is, but we have such a small pot because of the way the line is set. Like cooking like any large format pasta, we realize it doesn't work that well.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's always
lasagna's
gotta
off
be,
the table.
it's got to be something small always. Like we ran the last.
We did tortellinis last.
Even the last pappardelle we ran was like 2 weeks ago, right? Is
Yeah,
that the
the
one, the
lobster
lobster
one.
sauce? And I'm like, no, we're not doing it ever again.
Nightmare.
It will just, if you get 3 or 4 of them at one time, it's logistically a nightmare. Which is funny because 3 or 4 pastas in the other restaurants, like, whatever, that's an easy pickup. Let's do this
It's
thing.
one pot. Let's do
We've
it.
got 4 burners and small pots.
Yeah, and you put a pasta pot on one of them, and realistically, you got 3 burners to work with throughout the night.
Yeah, you guys are 100% induction back there, right?
We don't
Yeah.
have
And
a
the
hood.
immersion. Yeah, that's the interesting thing about Dunedin is if you get those, you don't need the hood, which is great for startup costs. It seems like because that hood is. Did you guys price one out for this place?
For this, a 10-foot hood with fire suppression and dampeners, because it's an open kitchen, $25,000 easily.
It's insane.
And then it's not our property anymore.
In our lease.
In our lease. Other leases, they would say you can
Landlords.
keep the hood, but this landlord, and whatever, I understand. You're putting a hole in his roof, you're putting a permanent fixture on,
Right.
Yeah.
but that's $25,000. I mean, that's half a build-out cost.
I mean, there's certain
Yeah.
things that we can't cook with the inductions just because we can't create too much greasy vapor and stuff with the fire codes.
Bacon,
But yeah,
and fatty meats and that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
so far we haven't had to much of an issue working around.
Well, we work with the deputy fire marshal today, and we sent emails back where he's such a nice guy and super helpful. Thank goodness for him. He made our lives a lot easier. And we were just sending like, can we do this? No, you can't do this. And can I do that? And it also, you know, it comes down to like verbiage too on the menu. Like, obviously, it's funny because we're allowed to fry eggs without a hood.
Yeah, we could do that at night part too. That's how we got away with brunch.
But you can't fry bacon.
No.
That's crazy.
How much more greasy vapor is coming off a bunch of butter and a fatty egg yolk versus a cut of bacon? At the end of the day, there's still grease splatter.
Yeah, I think
So
it's
you guys telling me
perception.
what, bacon? Bake the bacon?
I
No bacon.
Can't do anything
Yeah,
with
we
bacon.
don't touch.
You can do it in the microwave though, can't you?
You can do it in a microwave.
But that's just,
Or on a flat top, like the panini press.
We were see, you can have a panini press, which blows my mind. We shouldn't talk too much about this because God forbid.
Incriminating
Yeah,
yourself.
but you can have a panini press.
Yeah.
And I actually was looking into like studies, like at some point in my life, I need to call like a big university and say, can you do a study on when grease becomes vapor and what different fats become vapor at different temperatures? I couldn't find
you
anything
can find
conclusive.
anything, yeah.
And we searched because I wanted to go to a fire marshal. Like, aha, I got you.
I don't think
Science.
Yeah,
does grease
science.
actually become vapor though, or does the?
It's grease-laden vapor
Grease
is
laden.
the terminology.
Okay, so it's really the liquid in it
Becoming
vaporizing, carrying up a little bit of oil.
Yeah, and basically he just
So
said,
as long as the
walls
walls
don't turn yellow, we're good.
So just put like a blanket up there.
Yeah.
Blanket
So the
up,
blanket's
just like-
yellow.
You didn't say anything about
Take
a
it
blanket.
down. Semantics.
I mean, it's funny because it's been slightly limiting. Like, I do miss, like, basting out duck breast. Like, just something inherently about cooking when you get to baste out with butter, garlic, and thyme. Watch that butter turn brown and, like, get that skin crisp. Like, I do miss that a lot. But it's also forced us into this, like, creative corner of we need to make sure, even though our kitchen is limited, that we don't appear to be limited to the public.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue is, like, also we get all these great ideas, and they always come all at once.
Right.
And it's like, we write a menu, it's like, everything's a hot pickup. That's not going to work. Like, we can't have 4 starters that are hot and 3 mains that are hot because it would crash our tiny little kitchen.
So
Yeah.
usually we do 2 starters that are hot. I mean, in the summer, sometimes we would have a cold, larger plate, but not often. I mean, just most people don't want the
Yeah.
entree to be cold. But, I mean, we did one with tuna that did well. We did
Yeah.
tuna with potato salad and stuff. I think that was the only cold larger plate we've done, though.
That's actually a really interesting point, is the creative box you have to put yourself in.
I wasn't
Because-
even thinking about that because when I look at a menu from a consumer, I'm such an idiot. I was like, why isn't there more pasta? Why isn't there more hot stuff? And I just think that it comes out of like a magic lockbox where food's prepared, and then you just serve it to people.
That's what people think,
Yeah,
man.
we really do. We really do. Like at no point in time did I actually consider the process behind cooking food. I just expect it to appear on my plate and taste delicious.
Having an open kitchen it's good and sometimes it's bad. You know, technically we've got a closed kitchen, I'll probably be searing duck breast because no one would ever see. But with the open kitchen,
How to get seared? I don't know, microwave?
yeah. It's amazing. But we have people come in, they sit at the bar, and they look at the menu. And I always love this move with the menu. They look at the menu, our menu's only one-sided, and it's 5, 8, 9, 10, 11
Oh,
items.
I know what's coming.
5, 3, 3.
And they flip it over. And automatically we just like, oh boy, this is going to be fun. But especially if they're sitting at the bar, and if we're busy, they see actually what's going on, and then they kind of, oh, that's why the menu's so small. This guy only owns 8 saute pans, you know, or you know, the cold side of the kitchen is only 6 feet. You know, there's only so much room, and you know that you can do stuff. And I love when people come in and we get to turn that notion around, like, oh, they don't offer anything to get. Oh my God, this is amazing! Like, look at all these
how
pans
often
being
the
moved
menu
around.
changes. Like, I don't feel like we're shorting our guests on anything. The
Oh,
thing is,
hell
if we have too many choices, I just think, as a diner, I just get overwhelmed with, like, well, now I don't know what I want.
Right.
So we keep it streamlined. That and our wine is straight. I mean,
Yeah, our wine.
we usually offer, like, 8 wines.
Yeah, we have a sommelier here who's amazing, Sully. He does such a great job. And all our staff does a great job. Megan
We've been
is
super
an
lucky
amazing
with
server.
staff.
Adam is a great cook. He works with us during the day. Does a great job for us. Like, we've been super, super lucky and blessed with the staff. And God, I hope we can keep them as long as possible. I'm gonna look right into that.
Stay. Yeah.
But the wine program. I mean, we like wine, and our first wine list that we did was us, and we sat down and tasted, and then we hired Sully. Actually, way up Ninth Bar. To be honest, he was friends with Ben.
Oh.
And Ben brought him in, and he started talking about wine just a little bit. And I was like, "You know way more about wine than you're letting on, don't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, but it's not just wine. Any beverage
coffee,
you can
tea,
think of."
sake.
I mean, he knows enough Japanese to talk intelligently about sake.
Really?
Wow.
It's insane the amount of knowledge
And
this
he's
guy
just
has.
brought in something like what our last rosé was from Switzerland, and some people are like, Switzerland doesn't make wine. Yes, it does. Do you want to have some?
Yeah.
Swiss rosé.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's when you have a place that, like, I mean, you guys are a little bubble of creativity out here. Obviously, there isn't much to compare you to in Dunedin. You're kind of like a singularity out here, doing really nice small plates. So that's probably why you're attracting these people that also don't want to drive to Tampa.
And that was our whole thing. We were talking to friends and stuff, like, where do you go for good food? Like St. Peter, Tampa. I mean, I'm talking, I don't want to label us a fine dining restaurant. We use fine dining techniques. We do nice presentation. We're very, very thoughtful, like other fine dining restaurants are. But I think fun fine dining, is that, if we can coin a phrase?
Yeah.
That sounds like
I bet
Chuck
you-
E. Cheese.
you're trying-
Fun
he's
dining.
trying.
I'm sorry, that will catch on. Fun
Yeah.
fine dining. It's going to be.
We'll see.
It's going to be the new. What was it? New American cuisine is like the
Fun
big.
fine dining.
Yeah, fun fine dining.
When we opened, so many people would come by and ask us what type of restaurant we're opening. This one guy comes by and I was like, "Oh, like kind of like a small fine dining." He goes, "Well, I'm fine and I like dining."
Oh, Dice.
Yes.
I love Dice. This guy walks by our storefront twice a day.
Yeah.
Biggest smile, big wave every time. Hand up all the way through the window, because sometimes we're working and you catch him at the last minute, and he'll take a step back and like wave back to you.
Just wait for it.
And I swear, like, he runs like this area of the meeting, like this is his like he's such a nice guy. Like, I feel like he knows everybody. Like, if you need help, like, you go talk to Dice.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
That's hilarious. You know what actually your restaurant reminds me of is these restaurants you see up north, like Nantucket. It has places like this where the food's really good, but the pretense is also really low. Like, you don't have to go in a suit and tie and be a douchebag. Like, it's fine to walk in
Who
here.
wants for a suit and tie in Florida?
You can't.
Exactly.
You really
Wait,
can't.
I mean, on my day off, I wear shorts, flip flops, tank top. And if ever a guest came in shorts, flip flop, and tank tops, I'd be like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, that's
this
the
is what
point.
it should be. Like,
It's great food, no pretense. It's just
Casual
here's some
fine
awesome
dining.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
we're hoping that by doing this and showing that, I mean, we did this on a shoestring budget, and we're doing well. We're 5 months in, and we can't complain about anything. I mean, bills are paid, our house stuff is taken care of, like, everything's great. We're hoping that we can show that this model does work, and other people who are creative, and even if it's not just food. I mean, look at what Ninth Bar did. I mean, go to an odd location and do something really, really well.
Yeah.
And be dedicated to it. I mean, we're super excited about Razzle Dazzle Donuts. I mean, stuff
I think
like that.
Sully might be the most excited.
Yeah, Sully's probably
of all
most
the
excited.
people in Dunedin.
But show that, a small business with a great idea and people who care about what they're doing can survive
Yeah.
in odd locations. I mean, like, I feel like Seminole Heights, they had their boom in food, because someone opened up in an odd location.
Right.
Are you talking about the what's it called? Starts with an R.
Rooster Material or Refinery?
The refinery was
first?
like
Refinery
the
was
refinery
first.
was like the OG place,
Yeah,
which I've been there. Have you ever been there?
we haven't made it there yet.
I don't
I've
think
been
I've
there.
been anywhere.
We're not going to say anything that will stop us from being able to talk with them.
I'm gonna say something. I've been there twice, and both times I wanted to love it. Like, I heard great things, but I just went, and it just sort of like let me down. And I was so upset, and I was just like staring at my plate of food. And the manager, nice lady, was like, "What's wrong? Like, can I do anything?" And do you ever get in that mode where you just sort of shut down? And you're just like, "No, nothing will ever make this right."
I mean, either way, those guys, I think, started.
Yeah, very important. for what
It's
they
very
do.
important what they did in Seminole Heights, and also like in St. Pete, they're starting to have a food like kind of renaissance. I feel like, and granted, there's been great restaurants down there all along, but there's always seems to be like just a few really good restaurants in each of these cities.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's never like a big city like Vibers. Like there's just these blocks of amazing eateries.
Where there's options for every kind of mood you can be in.
And I mean, I would love to see that happen in Dunedin because I feel Dunedin's become in Britain. I'm not knocking anybody. Everyone's if you're a restaurant and your doors are open, your lights are on, you're winning the game.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you're serving. If you can keep your lights on and keep your staff paid, you're winning.
Yeah.
But the food hasn't changed since I was a kid.
Right.
And I would just love to see some people take those risks of, you get your regular diners and you got these menu items that you can't take off because you're pigeonholed to them. And then all of a sudden your menu becomes stagnant. That's why we change things all the time. It's like, oh, I'll come back again next week for this dish. I'm like, oh,
rarely get the same dish. And so we've got, like, our regulars who know, like, they see something on Facebook, like, that's the day to come. Because we can't guarantee it'll be there. Depends how it sells, depends how much of it we have. And so we have one couple that come all the time, and they called their friends, and they're like, look at this dish, and they already made dinner. It's like, box up my dinner all these times. We're going to restorative. So
That's incredible.
we've definitely got a following that does know, like, when you see a post. Because some people will come and they'll show a picture from a week ago. And then it's like, I'm sorry, like, you can't have that now.
You know what I like about that too is it also sort of speaks to the fleeting nature of food in general. Like strawberries are not really good year round. They have their season when they're the best. And you guys are doing what's good now. Like, do you guys deal in much out of season stuff?
Well, absolutely we do, because seasonality in Florida is a totally different beast.
It's true.
I mean, we work with this guy, Johan from Stone and Garden. He's going to have tomatoes and eggplants in November.
Is that the guy that like grows it in his like house and he's got all these little microgreens?
No, that's the guy from Safety Harbor. I can't remember his name right now. I should.
He's got his business card somewhere.
We buy some stuff from him occasionally.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, we go to this produce market right next door to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the name of the place. It just says Fresh Produce.
It's just called produce. Yeah.
Dunedin Fresh Produce.
Dunedin Fresh Produce? Okay.
I just always tell people the yellow building.
The yellow building. And he goes down to the Port of Tampa and buys stuff. And is that seasonal? Probably not, but it's seasonal to us because that's what we can get.
Yeah.
Because he's got it. So I wouldn't say we're not seasonal, we're not local. And our philosophy has always been quality of the product, price of the product, and then locality.
Yeah.
Because, unless you're in the middle of Florida, or, I love the chefs who get up every morning at 6 a.m. and drive to the center of Florida to go buy stuff. I'm not that
we like
crazy.
to sleep.
I like to sleep.
Right.
But,
it's good to know your limits.
I mean, if the best quality product that we can get is coming from 10,000 miles away, then that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And, everyone talks about, carbon footprints, you need to buy closer, it needs to change how food is done. I do agree with that to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, for our restaurant, quality can't be compromised.
Right.
And unfortunately, that means sometimes, getting stuff from California. I haven't found really good sea urchin from the East Coast, unfortunately. But definitely not in Florida. So,
But you also know what you're focusing on. And the space that you have is limited and your creativity within it. And you're still providing something exciting for other people. And I think you're setting a trend. It's good to see the how much life and joy what you're doing brings to you, and it's inspiring to other people. I like that you seem to have this thin little veil between you and your customers so they can experience what you're doing and really enjoy it for what it is. I think we've become such consumers that we just want something no matter what. It's like, I want grapes, and it's September, and it might not be the right time. But you guys are really, allowing them to see what's happening behind the scenes and what makes their food. I
think the common misconception we get is that we're a farm-to-table restaurant, and I just think people associate a menu changing with you being farm-to-table, which I don't know, when that, just because maybe they changed the most. And that's why we always tell people that, no, that's not what we focus on. I mean, we do work with some local farmers, but especially where we are in Florida, for us, it's not practical.
Yeah, there's just
but is
stuff
it
you
even
can't
necessary?
get.
I mean,
I think the restaurants who can do it and can do it well, I mean, great for them, but I just think we would be pigeonholed into using the same ingredients over and over again. I mean,
that's a great point, actually.
On Martha's Vineyard, they have great farms, and Patron Summer became never-ending tomatoes.
tomato.
And it was just like,
2 weeks of strawberries. That's all. There's 2 weeks of
Yeah.
strawberries, and you're like, but I've got so many ideas. You're like, nope, 2 weeks, you're done.
Yeah, and then it was never-ending kale too. All through the entire season, I can buy as much kale as I wanted.
I think kale's immortal.
Same thing.
And it's great kale, but how much can you? I mean,
did you guys get asparagus there too? I remember we get the most beautiful asparagus. I don't know
what was the name of the
Bartlett.
farm?
Bartlett.
Bartlett Farm.
Yeah.
On Nantucket.
Great farm.
Their tomatoes are beautiful too.
Yeah.
That whole
But I
place
mean, you may have experienced that at some point during the summer. Like during the summer here,
Yeah,
we were
with asparagus.
we were running corn dishes, and I'm like, I can't wait not to shuck another ear of corn. Like, please, corn, like go away. Like I'm done with you. And people were going crazy.
We had people coming. Well, we had someone write us a review saying the corn just changed their life, and we have so many people walk in and be like, "I'm ready to have my life changed by corn." I'm like, well, that's a high standard.
Yeah, like thank you.
I can
hope
give
you're
you
also
a
ready
good
to be
corn dish,
disappointed.
but I don't know if we're gonna change your life. I'm not.
Well, I mean, that's been a little bit of a challenge too. Is like we've been blessed by having really great reviews right off the bat. I mean, it's been really good, but the expectation now is like so high for some diners.
Yeah.
And I was like, we heard great things about you. I'm like, well, somebody lied to you.
Yeah.
Because I need to bring that expectation back down to reality and not like what you like what you were saying. You sit down in front of a plate of food and you had this expectation in your head of it being like this awesome meal, and then you get it. And is that just expectation outweighing the reality of where you're dining? And we try to make sure that people know who we are and what we're doing, and we want to make sure that the reality doesn't get overblown. And like I said, because we've had so much press in a
When the
short
write-ups
time,
make the changing menu hard, because it's hard. I mean, these people come in.
they show up with the newspaper.
They come up with the newspaper.
I want
like,
this.
We want this, and we're like, well, she or he was in weeks ago.
Yeah.
And, you
Not
know,
how
that's
this
not on
works.
the menu anymore. And, like, that's been a hard thing. Because people in Sarah aren't used to that. They're used to reading the reviews, and they can go in and get that exact meal.
Yeah, it's kind of a mind fuck for them.
So, yeah, and I get, like, and then there's kind of, like, this disappointment of, like, but I wanted that. And, like, oh, I'm really sorry. But this will be good, I promise. You just can't get what you...
This dish is now in a better place.
Yeah.
It's not like the review says, like, this only one thing is good and everything else sucks.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank goodness.
Luckily, we didn't get this.
Yeah. Thank goodness we didn't get just everything written about corn, because I'd still be doing corn right now and hating life. But, no, I mean, it's been a trip. I mean, we opened the doors.
June 1st.
Yeah, we didn't expect much, to be honest. We, like, alright, we just gambled a bunch of money away. I mean, opening a restaurant, you're better off going to Vegas and putting it all in black.
I mean, that's 50.
Wesley Snipes tactics.
Yeah, and not only have like our friends and family absolutely supported us, especially in the beginning, that was huge for us, just to have friends and family come in and, you know, we try to do the right thing, especially with family, like, you know, immediate family, your first meal is on us. And they're like, no, we're paying.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you so much for doing that. You have no idea what that means to us, that you're willing, that we offered
You bought me food my whole life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
now
we
you
made for
buy
9 months,
food.
yeah.
And then especially like our regulars, and thank you honestly to all of them, because just getting started is the hardest part, and for them to come in every week or once or twice a week has really made sure
and
that
Dunedin such a great like word of mouth community that so many people are. And one thing that seems to be a trend, especially on busier night, is people running into like their friends that they didn't know. We had someone who ran into their mother-in-law who was eating at the bar, and they were at a table, and just like people, and we like that kind of like community, like where you can run into familiar faces.
we had one night, we had people sitting at the front, and there was a two-top who was being a little loud. I mean, it's a restaurant, be loud, and the four-top looked irritating. But then I don't know what was said about a garage. And they're like, do you live on this street? And they're like, yeah. And they were neighbors. They end up like combining tables.
They
and
just
sharing,
moved. Yeah, they just moved to have
sharing wine. And it was like the funny, like we love that about like being here in Dunedin. Like there is that possibility of like those nights are like almost like magical.
Well, and so many people are like, you should open in St. Pete or you should open in Seminole Heights. But we live in this community and we want to support the community we live in and, you know, be able to be a part of it more.
You also don't know if they're going to start doing construction on 19 again, so...
Yeah, and I don't...
you know,
we don't like
risk
driving.
that.
Yeah, I don't like driving anywhere. I don't understand why teleportation hasn't been invented yet.
Oh, it needs to, man.
So
Especially to get babies out of people.
Couple of
Just gonna throw
questions
that
for
out
you.
there.
So, for you, like, what makes a great dish? What is the elements that are necessary to make a good dish?
Balance.
Acid, texture.
Yeah, I find a lot of food, and we do it to ourselves sometimes too. It's like we forget about the crunch factor. Like a lot of food is inherently soft. Like if you look at a pasta dish, you know, everything's soft. There's nothing, but adding just some breadcrumbs on the top of that, it gives you that, so you don't get fatigue, palate fatigue from eating. You get all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a crunch of this, and it's a little saltier, or you know, there's a little kick of acid. You got to balance everything out so that as a diner is eating throughout the course of the meal, and not only just that one plate, you got to think menu-wide.
Sure.
A variety of textures so that you don't get tired of just mush on mush on mush.
Huge portions, because you'll just get bored eating the same flavors over and over again. So we'd rather order a fewer smaller plates and one larger plate, as opposed to like going out and you get this like huge bowl of food and like halfway through like you're still eating it, but like
it hasn't changed.
Bored.
Yeah.
Thomas Keller had something about that, right? When I think in the French Laundry Cookbook, he mentions that he gives people just enough to where they wish they had another bite by the end. Like he doesn't fully satiate; he wants them to kind of dwell on the, oh my god, I want more of that thing.
Yeah, I don't think we push it that far because you know, I mean, what he does, I mean, multiple.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of courses he puts out, you know,
like
at his restaurants. Yeah, I mean, you know, if someone comes in for 3 plates, we want them to leave just full enough where they feel comfortable. Like, if you come out to eat before you go visit your friends, we don't want you to be like, oh my god, I ate so much, I feel terrible. Like, we want you to just
unless you order the whole menu, and then we're fine with that too.
Yeah, we'll feed you up. But no, I mean, we want people to leave here just the right amount of full.
Yeah, I think that's when I came to here. That's roughly where I left off at. Like I wasn't stuffed. It was just like, oh my god, I'm full, and that food was good.
Yeah, and that's the goal. You know, make people happy with what they had, but not feel sick.
Yeah, totally.
Not feel Olive Garden sick at the end of the day.
There you go. Well, I got another obscure question here. Going to make you really think. And we got to include at least one of these. How would you define your flavors for someone who couldn't taste? If they had, we got to hit you with something.
How would you define your flavors for somebody?
Yeah.
But have they ever tasted anything?
No, if they can't.
They've never had taste buds.
They can't. You're. You know, we're trying to. We want to get you creative. What can you say about your dishes and your flavors? For someone who's.
I would associate like colors with taste.
Well, they can feel. There's vibrations. There's sensations. They just can't taste.
So they can texturally feel food.
Yeah.
They can feel warm and cold.
Right. They can
crunch.
crunch.
So have you ever sat in a car with a lot of bass?
Yeah.
Where you like shake?
Yeah. All the time.
That'd be the closest thing I can like. That I don't know. Like this.
The flavor is hip hop. I like it.
Yeah.
The flavor is hip hop.
I mean,
that is perfect.
Vibrations, I think, can tell someone a lot about what is going on around them. So I think vibration is how to describe our food for someone.
If you want food that not only tastes good but feels good, check out the Restorative.
You should write catchphrases, man.
Telling you.
You should.
It's all about that bass.